This is the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Matt. In this podcast, we're going to discuss growing companies, automation and manufacturing,
and how we're building the lives and businesses we want to see in the world.
General feelings of the week, how Matt and Michael are feeling. Get an update on that. We roll into sales and marketing, followed by engineering and R&D, and then company-wide updates and improvements. Really how we're growing our small businesses into the future automation companies that we are aiming to be.
Awesome.
So, how are you feeling this week, Michael? You've been on the road. You're up at Develop's facility, so...
Yeah, a 2-hour drive here. Don't love driving, but it's been an interesting week. So we had back-to-back interload installs. We really bent over backwards to make sure that we could knock them out since they were a couple-hour drive away from one another. I started it out like the trip. We were supposed to fly out, I think, like Saturday morning.
Okay.
And Friday night, I'm like cutting cheese in the kitchen. And there's like way too hard of cheese. All the dishes are dirty because we're cleaning them all. And I go and I cut it and I slice my finger open.
Oh.
And then, it hurt, but I was mostly just angry of like the inconvenience of the trip. So then we spent the next 5 hours in the ER.
You just get stitches?
I just got stitches, but
you
know
need
how
to
we are.
learn how to tie a fly. It's a fishing fly.
Like you just do it on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the last time I was in to get stitches, the doctor's like, yeah, all this is a fly, so learn how to tie one, and you won't have to come see me next time.
You see, in LA, the guy gives you like half a dozen shots to try to numb you out. And he had given me so many shots, I eventually just lied and told him my finger was numb. Because I was so tired of him, giving me
Yeah, he could have stitched it up with probably less pain at
that. Yeah. Anyways, we got to the interload showed up. We got a better transport company this time, so everything showed up on time.
That's good.
And we knocked the first install out, and then we did knock the second one out. Some hiccups that we overcame that we can talk about more in a bit. I think there's definitely some more room to improve. The intro, it's not so much like operationally, but to make the install process easier. And I guess generally feel weird about like being away from the shop and away from sales for a week.
Because everybody's running without you now at this point. Because you and Priscilla are on the road. Mm-hmm. Was it just the two of you doing these installs, or was somebody else along with you?
Well, no, we have 4 people.
Oh, you had 4 people at the install, and then just 2 of you came up here.
Yeah, and we only have 5 full-time people.
Okay.
I mean, we kind of like in practice, I would say, are at like 8 with the number of consultants that we, overbook.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we have one guy between our 2 buildings right now, which is weird.
Oh, that is really weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of it is like the whole story of these are our first versions of this configuration on this machine.
Yeah.
So we intentionally brought too much staff in case anything went wrong and we had to fix it on the
So you
fly.
must be losing on these installs then, even. Like that's a lot of staff for. Because how much is an intro load?
Yeah, the base unit, like the install. So like we have to take into account we're losing on travel and they're like $40,000.
Okay.
And then typically people are buying work holding.
Okay. That helps at least offset it somewhat.
Yeah, we actually charge more if you don't buy work holding from us because so much of our margin is built into being able to sell work holding. So yeah, I mean it's been, I'm really happy. Like the customers are really happy. I pulled your trick of giving a discount, or I think you actually charged for it, but we give a discount.
We give it away.
Yeah.
We don't give a discount. We just show the value and then shoot another for the marketing videos, right?
Yeah. So we shot like a shop tour video at our first customer, and then they gave us a testimonial.
Awesome. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. So
I forgot to turn on the mic.
Oh, that's
so the audio is terrible. But
could you might be able to just like, even if you mail him a mic, is he still in shop? Or you just were in Schaumburg, or is he further away?
No, he's like in DeWitt.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I would say that could be one of those where you mail him a mic and just have him shoot the audio and you overlay it.
Yeah, but I guess that's getting into marketing. So it's been like a good week, but a bit of a, I don't know, just different. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
You're up.
I'm up. This week we had the one customer visit on site, so a larger company coming in for a tour, which is really fun to see because that's a bigger project that we've been chasing. And I actually had time to actually put into it like I used to, which has been really cool seeing how much the team's been helping take certain portions of sales, the way that we've been getting ahead with CIs. So like I actually had that entire morning just to prep for that meeting, which I haven't had like 4 hours to prep for a meeting in years, which was like, I was on my game then, which is a really big project for develop, which is really nice to have that capacity. And that's overall been a lot of the week. Is it's been like, how are we cleaning up and consolidating, because we have some big projects getting ready to start here, and it's getting the team in the mindset like, let's just keep cleaning house, because we haven't had this opportunity since like COVID, where we've had a lull to just, continuous improvements is one thing, but like we're doing like entire customer experience overhauls, like re-streamlining everything, like all our documentation re-consistent, because some of it just got built over the last couple of years by different team members. Now it's like we want constant feel when you're working with develop. So cool. That's kind of the general feel of the week. Is just, I liked some of the free time I had to focus on high leverage opportunities that I just haven't seen in a while.
Do you want to talk about marketing and sales then?
Sure, we could roll into that.
So, I mean, you talked about having a 4-hour block. I mean, you put a lot of time into that proposal and project scoping, right?
Yeah, it's a $2 million single machine, and then there's after work after that. So it'd be a long-term relationship, and we're looking at other projects with them. When I had the meeting with the COO of a $3.5 billion company. So it was like, I've never been grilled so hard in my entire life. So it was actually very good that I had that entire morning to prep. And it was like, all I did was like, okay, what kind of questions can I anticipate? Mm-hmm. How can I plan for this? And I was just prepping for all those. And I got hit with all those and a lot that I didn't plan for. Yeah. So it was good.
Yeah, I mean, with the custom stuff, that's always a challenge. Because at least I'm getting to the point where, like, I keep getting the same questions, like, on products. And I know which ones to anticipate. And we're able to kind of, like, keep trying to overcome those objections before the customer ever reaches us.
Yeah, and it's less of what's interesting is it's less of an objection on the machine that we've scoped at that point. It was like vetting develop in general as a company, because it's a big project for us, and they're very aware of it when they walk in, and they're looking at $2 million spend with us, and it's a 8-person team. That's a lot of our capacity, and then they want proof that we can actually perform on that. And so really just getting a lot of comfort around that has been a lot of the questions.
What's the timeline target for you guys?
It's a 12-month build.
Okay.
So it's layered as a 12-month. We've got some risk mitigation at the beginning of it, because they've got some unique product handling with it, but they've also built some of these similar machines that we can leverage some of that to help progress this style of machine forward for them.
Yeah.
So
any HubSpot stuff, advertising stuff?
It was pretty much prepped for that. Had a couple other sales meetings. It wasn't like, if I look back at my sales week, it was really focused on that, and following up on some miscellaneous stuff left over from auditing, which was, I haven't had a chance to get back into some of that. So laid back week is probably the wrong way to say it, but it was like all focused on a few key things.
Right.
Yeah. Because there's another project that's close to close, and I had a similar meeting with their COO of that one last week, actually, and now I'm going back in this week for another meeting with them that should be going through the start here soon too. So that'd be a $1 million project there that we'd be starting soon.
Cool.
So
I guess I've been more I always get really salesy before I go on a trip, like not like a bad car salesman salesy, but like like focused on marketing and sales, because I want to, like, when you have a relatively small team, and after firing our sales guy, I'm pretty much the main point of contact, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, like, you can call us and someone else will answer, but when we're doing an actual sales call or a discovery call, it's me, and not.
I think at our size of company, people want that. Like, they want to talk to us. At least for a lot of our machines, there's a point where they just want to talk to me.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think it's more true for you, because I've been on the other end of it too. And when we were doing like engineering consulting, and we actually had a bigger team, it made more sense because the project value was higher. And the problem now that I'm seeing is, like, last week, as we worked on all this. The team was working on getting the intro loads prepped. I was just focused on marketing and sales. Yeah. I'm worried about that, like, boom and bust cycle I found the company in for various different reasons, where I get focused on marketing and sales, then we sell too much. We have to stop focusing to meet that capacity, and then I have to focus on marketing and sales really hard again. Um,
I understand that. I mean, that's the reason that I pretty much got kicked out of engineering, and the team just
Yeah,
wants to be
yeah.
focusing on business development and sales, so we have less of those curves. But
Yeah.
it's still feeding that top of funnel. Where are you finding those leads? How are you filling that? Like, doesn't matter how focused you are on sales. Sometimes it's just like the waves hit. Like,
Yeah.
like we've been working on deals for years on some of these, and now all of a sudden several of
Yeah.
them are converging at the same time.
Well, I think like 2 site visits, and I've never really done site visits.
Yeah.
And one of them I was like, was this really worth my time? And one of them was like, okay, this is a really like solid lead that we could sell multiple systems into, and it could be super successful. But I actually thought like the quality of leads was the opposite of what it ended up being, where I thought
based on paper, you're saying, or based on
like based on the
looking on web?
conversations I had and the calls I
Okay.
had before I went out there, the quality of leads was actually the opposite of what I had anticipated.
It's funny how that works.
And I hate driving, and then and then in LA it'll be an hour to drive there because you're going to Orange County because that's where the
Okay.
manufacturing is. And then you schedule 45 minutes. The real site visit's an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then maybe now an hour 15 back because of traffic. And then I look at that time block and I'm like, okay, there's like 3.5 hours. And I immediately went to like, is this sustainable for me to be doing? Because in that time I could have pounded out 4, 5, 6 discovery calls, and I had that kind of moment of like, oh shoot, do we need like an outside sales rep again? I mean, we kind of had an inside sales rep before.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of shops in SoCal that have the type of machines that the Intralo goes on. I mean, the Intralo is a pretty easy sale in comparison to the gripper systems, which are actually lower value, but it's harder to educate the customer and get them to buy that kind of system. But yeah, I mean, I kind of had that moment of like, oh shit, I need to get myself out of this process somehow.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I spend a lot of time on the road, and like,
Yeah.
I've struggled with the same thing of like, how do we get me out of that too? I think since yours is more productized, I think your sales template and what to look for can be streamlined a little bit better. But like,
Right.
there's times where I'll go in to look at one thing and we end up quoting a completely different line because I find
Yeah.
a different ROI for them. And like, you realize we can make 3 times the ROI if we do this, and this, if you will, on a packaging and palletizing cell, where they just came to us looking for a robot to box on a pallet.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's maybe that's something that can be easily trained too, though. But
Yeah, and I also wonder, like, I don't know if I'm the right guy to go and do sales where the customer isn't close. Like,
what do you mean by that?
like I think I'm pretty good at selling customers who are kind of mid to late funnel, where they already know everything, and we've done a good job of putting out the information. We're very like social media focused. We're trying to get back into YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah, I prefer to only be dealing with
Yeah.
the bottom of the funnel, if you will.
Yeah.
That initial, there's a lot that drops out. You have
Yeah.
to weed them out quickly. I think we've talked about that. Like, how do we find somebody, an executive assistant role or top of
Right.
funnel for weeding them out?
Well, I'm just like, I went to the shop or to one of these shops, and there were so many obvious places that we could have sold them something that was like an auto vice, or like a single $4,000 gripper system with a vice, an encoder kit, and a gripper, and they could have made their money back in a week or less. And for me, it was almost frustrating to see how efficiently the shop was processing some stuff. Like, dude did a Kurt Vice on 100 machines. And, I guess for me, I had to like kind of pull myself back because I'm like, oh my God, there's so many easy wins.
Oh,
And they were so skeptical and wanted to start with this, kind of crazy pie in the sky project that, really honestly, I didn't have much interest in, but they didn't even talk about that project till I was on site.
yeah. The way because I've seen the same thing where like they come in and they want to go after, it's the highest ROI or the highest risk project. And it's like, why don't we get a win together under our belts? Like, let's go after some of this easier work here.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've spun it. Because like, I can use an example. I did a site visit 3 weeks ago. They had 4 projects. One's reverse engineering a machine that was built for them in like the 80s. Super complex. Be like a $3 to $4 million sell probably.
Yeah.
They have another one where they need to do riveting on really like, it's a sheet metal application where it's really tough to assemble. And then the other ones are like straightforward. We need to ban this product and put it on a pallet. And we're like, we want to do this riveting project first. And I'm like, we can literally get this one done,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll start making your money back and start feeding this one, or at least pay the retainer so we can start
Yeah.
laying it out. But they always want to go. A lot of people want to go after that high risk because it does have it's always such a big pain for them. I think is probably the main reason they're looking
Mhm.
at it, and they want to solve that pain because it's just every day it nags at them.
Yeah. And I think, I talked with you a little bit about this at lunch. We just had lunch before,
Yeah,
before
true.
recording our first in-person podcast, which I'm still getting used to.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting for me.
But like, I'm still don't really know like who our buyer is because it's so different company to company. Like sometimes it's a manufacturing engineer, sometimes it's a VP of operations, sometimes it's a shop foreman, sometimes it's the CEO.
Is that? Are you looking at different product lines, or are you looking at like say just
No.
the intro, like just the intro?
just an individual product.
Jeez. Okay.
Like I don't know who the buyer is because at some shops, it's going to be literally the machinist on the floor has the bandwidth to buy a $7,000 system, like a just gripper plus thing.
It's interesting who gets the authority too at some of these companies. Just varies drastically.
Yeah, every shop's org chart is so different. And like I kind of got the feeling at one of these shop visits, like this person doesn't even have the authority to buy this. Like there's no way I would have gone out and done a shop tour with this person if I would have known that we were running things up the chain, like that just wouldn't be in the cards otherwise.
Yeah, that's a tough one to vet out if you're talking to the buyer too, because sometimes they'll put on a good show that they have the authority.
Yeah, which is what happened, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm kind of frustrated with the one. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to optimize our sales.
I'm all ears if you figure it out. 'Cause I think we both have the same pain. Mine is kind of the same. I just want our top of funnel follow up from trade shows better handled without me having to do all the emails. Like right now,
Yeah.
I've got 100 emails I could probably send out today.
I
That's
know.
like if I could just get to them.
Yeah, that's our top of funnel. There's all these different things. I don't know the best way to approach it. So like I know what's working for us. Like I know for whatever reason, Meta ads work really well for us. We get more inquiries from Meta ads than every other platform combined. And Google.
Have you done LinkedIn?
We have, and we saw the worst performance by a mile on LinkedIn.
Interesting. Okay.
And I wonder, to be fair, we haven't done LinkedIn specifically with the intro load, and maybe that's something to try.
It's a higher end product.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is there, but I know from our pay-per-click, like, okay, this is the one thing that's working. And then, kind of like, okay, do we get an outside sales rep? Like, do we do more trade shows? And I'm trying to figure out what the right balance is at the right pace.
Yeah. I keep going back to like an executive assistant with a sales focus. The challenge is that whenever I bring that up to people, is their main question is how do you do your comp structure on that if you're going to classify them as a salesperson?
Yeah.
It's like that is the battle. And it's like for develop our structures, like the way I've gone about it is I want the team focus. And so layering in the profit sharing, that's been a challenge that I've been asking myself a lot. It's like, all right, I'm fine doing a comp on sales, but I want it all to go to the profit sharing pool and be a sideline there. So then the engineering team's motivated to support them as well, even though they've got projects going.
Yeah, I don't know a good way to do that.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know if you did like a quarter point on something that they handle the top of funnel, get them on my calendar. I don't have to talk to them. They're vetted. And then like if the entire team handles the sale without me, it's like a half point of the entire project was something I was thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never gotten, I haven't figured out a good formula to get like a good sales rep that I felt made sense. And I don't know if we're just not selling high enough margin products or high enough value products. Well, and the other thing is like when the value is there, like let's say you sell $1 million system, are you going to give them 10 points on that? Like,
No, that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. It would be across the board on
Yeah.
that, like a structure. But that's a tough thing too, because you can sell $1 million sell, and I mean, in the past, we knew we were going to say lose money on some projects or be really tight because we're going after markets to grow, and our team is figuring stuff out. So giving something a margin on something is like I have to do the sales.
Right.
Like it's just a non-negotiable because that's just straight dollars to the bottom line then, or to the project
Yeah.
reduction, if you will. But it's like as we grow, how do you look at those numbers? 'Cause I've had a lot of people come in and say look at them differently, but it's like always, it seems to misalign the business and the culture that I want to build.
I feel like we're I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we're kind of both at the point where it's like at the size and stage that our companies are at least for me, I don't feel like I can, really give, can really go with a traditional sales rep model of, here's, 10 or points of the gross profit, right?
Yeah. I think that's kind of the same battle I have, and that's where it's like, all right, if we layer it as a different title, like basically they make sure that anybody goes on my calendar is going to be a high value sale is what I was looking at, and then they can work with engineering to help, like say it's just a simple modular robot system or a VFS or a simple pack and palletize like I've seen, could they just work with engineering and I don't even need to get brought in, and if I don't have to get brought in, give a higher percentage.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the way I've been leaning towards it, because then it keeps the company culture from sales to marketing too. So, because that last thing I want, or sales to engineering, last thing I want to do is sales is just saying, oh, hey, I sold this thing, and then engineering doesn't know what's coming down the pipeline too well.
So these are like all the questions in my head, and then there's like what I'm actually doing right now. So like I'm asking all these questions of like, should I be doing more site visits? Should I be doing X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And I think they're all longer term questions. But like what I'm actually doing right now, for one, Whisper Flow AI has been huge.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded that yet.
So you talked about how like you've been talking to ChatGPT all day, and I tried the ChatGPT transcription, and it's so slow. Like it takes like that just a second or two to load, and you don't realize how frustrating that can be. And Whisper Flow, it's basically like it's a keyboard on your phone, so you hit the little like keyboard button to change keyboards. You just talk into it, it transcribes it instantly and perfectly, and it's got a keyboard shortcut in Windows.
So does it just transcribe, or like say you're talking to it in an email, will it actually say, can you describe the email you want written, and then it'll do it, or it just transcribes to what you're...
It typically just transcribes what you're saying, but it also like auto formats it. So like if you're in an email, it'll write like an email with bullet points.
Okay.
But before I was using Fixer or even ChatGPT or whatever to generate the email, and I found that it's easier for me to just talk through the entire email. I'm writing more emails. I'm writing longer and more detailed emails. I'm giving people better and faster responses because the friction of doing it is so low in just talking.
Yeah, so that's the exact same flow. I just do it in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So I should give Whisper a shot, see how that plays out.
Well,
I think mine is just that I typically will describe the type of email I'm wanting. I'll feed it some of the information that I have, and then maybe give it a structure. But I want it to drive a lot of it based on my thought.
Well, what I'm saying is like I was doing that too, and I found it to be more work than just talking through the email because I know what I want.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how slowly like you type, or maybe you go into the chat
I
GPT
type really slow.
and you edit. Well, I type like 70 to 100 words a minute, but if I'm writing an email, I'm like thinking about it, and as you type, your voice, your inner monologue slows down.
Oh yeah.
And basically, I found that it's faster for me to just talk through the whole email. It gets exactly what I want, and it's faster than going into an AI tool, giving it what I want, talking.
So
and
is
taking
it a
back.
plugin then right inside Gmail, or it lives in?
No, it just types wherever. So wherever your cursor is.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And
So it just lives on your entire. So if I'm in Word, it'll do it that way. And if I'm
yeah.
Okay, I should just interesting.
And so far, I downloaded it on Thursday evening when we did our last podcast. So, 9 days ago, 10 days ago.
Okay.
And I'm 20,000 words in. And my average like talking speed with transcription is like 134 words a minute. I have saved so much time, and the number of emails I've sent has doubled.
Oh yeah, I could see that. So that means it's probably 4x, because I know ChatGPT easily doubled my emails.
Yeah. Well, like when Fixer was working well.
Oh, that was insane.
I mean, that probably doubled me. And this has been, first off, Fixer kind of unwound to where it was back to zero. But,
also, is it better again?
No, I'm saying it unwound to where it wasn't helpful anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw.
So maybe it's a 20% increase. I pretty much turned most of it off, just the sorting now.
So we're in the same boat there. But like the first time I tried Fixer was right after a trade show. And so the follow-up email, so I sent like 100 some emails. And then I had the follow-up for 7 days on that auto wrote the next emails. that was gold there.
Yeah.
That's how I slammed my
Yeah.
calendar and inbox, was using that, but then all that stuff went to crap.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like I've 4x'd my.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It just. I just give it a try.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
I will do that. I'm installing Superhuman right now. That'll be the next AI tool I'll look at.
And I tried Superhuman too, and I just found
I'm struggling at just getting it to upload all my emails and sort.
Yeah.
Like, the initial onboarding has been a struggle. Like, it's literally just been running for days on my PC.
yeah.
Like, I started setting that up last Sunday and it's still sorting. It's like, it's been a week.
Well, and I don't want to learn a new client. I just want the email to be created and sent faster.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've achieved that. So like that's kind of number one thing I did
Okay.
is like, okay, clearly we need to do something else like long term in terms of like find a new sales rep. I mean,
Sometimes they just build the processes for
Right.
them too. Like,
Yeah.
To make them more efficient, because some team members just don't know that you can take 20% of your day just to get better at what you do.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's been a cultural shift for our team, is knowing to leverage that, because it only
Yeah.
just pays dividends for the entire corporation.
So there's that of like, okay, I'm just getting more efficient myself. And with that, we overhauled our whole quoting system. We upgraded HubSpot. And I need to figure out how to make those flows automated and do the pipelines through HubSpot and not rely on Pixar or these things in my head. I think that's a big deal that I need to pursue. And then I think kind of the last thing is helping that top of funnel get to the next layer a little bit better. And we're trying to do that with just customer testimonials and more content surrounding our best selling, highest value products.
Yeah. And so as we went through doing similar efficiency gains, what we saw then was, as we had engineering capacity and the work started coming in and we're utilizing more on the engineering, now we're seeing friction there because engineering was brought so far into it. Like we had said, I was leveraging so much. So now I've got to figure out a way to rebalance that out, because now maybe we don't have a lot in the top of, or in the quoting process, but if I did, it would be a problem.
Yeah.
So I think there's different challenges we're aimed with there, but kind of same flow. We're just different.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the last thing that we're doing right now is I watched this video on YouTube about like viral marketing.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, well, we're gonna try it and see how it goes.
But we don't have to go out and like twerk or something.
No.
Today,
You don't want to do that. Have you those like videos that you just like, you're on Instagram and you just watch it and you're like, what the hell am I watching? Like, it's like incoherent, but you like can't remove your eyes from it.
Okay.
And it's like apparently you have like 3 seconds to get someone's attention. Like, I believe that, right?
Oh yeah.
But just weirdness is really good at getting attention. Not like, jumping and doing a TikTok dance or something, but like something weird that like speaks to the audience. So we've been just generating these weird ideas for like Facebook ads. One of them is like a talking CNC machine of like, we like superimpose a face on the spindle, and we're just going to try to make a lot of ads that have like a weird 2-second thing and then show what the product does.
Interesting. Okay.
And see how it works.
So talking CNC, what else is
One's like a talking CNC machine where the CNC machine like fights with the machinist. We have what are some of the other ideas? That whole concept though is like just get people watching it with general weirdness, and then within like a 2-second hook.
Interesting. Okay.
And then get them to see what you want to see, right?
But generally correlated to it, not just like something blowing. I guess you could just do something random like that too.
Yeah, I mean, you want something that's gonna hook your audience.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like, you're not gonna get a machinist or a COO or whatever it is of an industrial company to watch.
That's actually an interesting topic there, because for Develop, when we started, we were all of our Insta was very machining focused. We had the Datron at the time.
Yeah.
We were shooting a lot of content. That's when our social started. And now that's not our typical buyer persona. That's been an interesting challenge for us of getting in front of the right people again, because now we'll pull something like we just did this last pulse and a bunch of machine components. Took off better than any pulse that we've done recently with robotics. It's interesting to see that.
We have the same problem there. So, I mean, first off, we have, like, our customers are machinists.
Yeah.
And I've been talking more and more, like, how it turns out we're not a machining company. Like, the like machines that we have, like, we have 5 CNC machines and water jet and blah, 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 but they're becoming turnkey validation machines for our gripper turnkeys. and they're becoming test machines to test out automation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an aftermarket car parts company buying an M4. Like, you know, it's just there to work on.
Yeah.
And we're making fewer parts, and we're machining less stuff. We only machine stuff to test things out, or to run validation of customer things. Like, we don't actually really care about making good parts, which, you know, we care that our vendors make us good parts. So
You just want to get something quick so you can learn from it and get your next iteration.
Yeah. But it's hurt our Instagram account a lot because we want to put that machining content out because that is our target audience and it gets good engagement. But we're not creating that in-house as much anymore to generate the content to do that easily.
See, and ours is different that we're still generating enough machining content we could shoot that, but that's not our customer anymore at all. We're like, we used to have a decent amount of machining service or mechanical based services where it was like we designed just a simple module, but now we're solving large automation problems, and that's not who our, like 80% of our followers aren't there. So it seems like right now we have an interesting attrition where we're gaining more on what we're wanting to, but then as we gain those, we lose on the other side.
And it might even be good, but look bad.
Yeah.
Where like for every 2 followers you lose, you gain 1, but it's the right demographic.
Yeah.
Right.
That might be the way it's playing. Time has yet to tell, but at least we've started seeing more engagement on some of the automation, just still not as high as I'd like to, or what we used to see when it was all CNC machining and that was our demographic.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with the weird Instagram ads, I'm kind of like, hey, you know, I'll watch these, like, you know, not brain rot per se, but like, just, I mean, maybe it is kind of brain rot content, and then you put real stuff behind it. But
the content's gotten longer too. It's like some of the videos, I'm like, holy crap, how long have I been watching this Instagram reel for? It's like minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's like we just shot this automation assessment video that's 2 minutes and 52 seconds. We're gonna try running that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because they now let you run that long of content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the people who engage are really engaging with that. No, but on the short form, like advertising too, I think it's like doing weird stuff and very aggressively killing it until you find something that works.
Okay.
Because I kind of have the theory that no one has done this in the industrial space, and I could be wrong. But
80-20, not a lot of people at least.
Yeah, but like presumably there's the same psychology there if you apply it right to get that kind of viral marketing result in this niche industry.
Interesting.
And I could totally, you know, fall flat on my face and spend $5,000 at that PPC and never do it again. But I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, we could shoot some weird video today.
Yeah. Any other sales and marketing stuff?
Nothing too crazy. It's just what I've already talked about was the main part of my week.
Yeah. So I mean, you talked a little bit about using Fixer for follow-up emails.
Correct.
So you were at that point, were you also using HubSpot to like follow along?
So HubSpot would track the pipeline they were in. Fixer would automate the follow-ups. Allegedly, HubSpot's working on something similar. On their AI side, I've played with some of the things they're claiming to help.
I haven't
with
seen any AI in HubSpot.
I wouldn't spend too much time on it. It's Copilot early days would be my initial thoughts on it, what I've seen thus far, but I haven't looked at it in the last couple of weeks again, but clunky.
Yeah, I guess for me, the sales and marketing, I guess the question mark is just all, where do I spend my time? You know, even now, like, okay, we have 9, 10 solid intro load leads. It's still kind of in my head. You know, I have quotes generated through HubSpot, and I made like default quotes to make things faster. Like, that
that helps a lot.
Yeah. But they're still like not properly managed through like a HubSpot CRM sales pipeline, and there's still not a good process. And it's like I have to remember to follow up with those people, and I know I'm dropping sales because of it.
Oh yeah.
So like that's an issue. Doing the actual work to follow up with those people is an issue. And then there's also like, okay, are you gonna like just what am I doing in what order? I think that's kind of where I'm lost right now.
I personally want to, like, the initial touch point with any customer, like in a email, I want to not be doing that. That's what I want off my plate. So if they came in through a form on our website, I want that either automated or I want somebody getting them put on my calendar and doing the vetting. If we vetted them at a show, I want the initial emails and follow-ups not being me. I just want to put on my calendar.
Yeah.
Like that's my dream state. If I could take that off my plate, I would free up at least 10 hours a week, and I would probably close more deals.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I guess the only other marketing thing is our videographer is going off to college here soon, so we have bought some gear where I'm going to be tasked with shooting stuff. So that's kind of one of those things where I'm
Okay.
like, we'll see how this goes,
Yeah.
because I need bandwidth to do that. And so that's one of those other things where it's like, all right, possibly the best way to gain 10 hours a week is to hire an executive assistant, which is the one I keep
Right.
going back on. I just want to see a couple other trigger events happening to develop before that happens.
Yeah.
So
What did you buy for like equipment?
I bought the exact same stuff he had. So he had a
Yeah.
Sony A7,
Uh-huh.
bunch of gear.
You know, I bought like a nice camera and spent thousands of dollars. I think I spent like $6,000 one month on all this equipment.
Yep.
And I've gone to using my iPhone with a DJI mic and a gimbal.
So the plan is that I need to just shoot our other stuff that way.
Yeah.
It's for our long form. He's going to
Yeah.
still edit it, so we're going to set it up just like we do for our long form and educational content. That's all it's for,
Mhm.
is to focus on that
Yeah.
still. So I can still quickly set up and shoot that, and then he's going to edit for us afar.
I guess the only place I'd push back is on the Sony A7.
Why?
Because we have the same kind of thing of like, you know, professional video grade DSLR. And it's just a lot of work to learn. And
So I've shot with
Okay,
similar gear
yeah.
in the past. I used to be into videography,
Okay.
more on the photo side.
Yep.
It's just been 5 years since I've really touched any of
no,
it.
yeah, it's just like the iPhone does such a good job.
Oh, it does.
With no effort. And the problem has always been audio, and the little DJI thing solves that.
Yeah.
And you know, then there's stabilization, and a $150 gimbal solves that problem, and that's just where I landed.
Okay.
Or a tripod, obviously.
I plan on just using it for shooting our educational
Yeah.
content, and the other social stuff will be on my phone still.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking at.
yeah. I'm worried about you doing the content for sure.
I don't think the content will be too great. He's
Yeah.
giving me a setup list, and I already had to sit in front of the camera to
Yeah.
talk.
Oh,
so,
okay, that's fair.
So
Yeah.
the only thing I'm tasked with is taking the tripods out, setting them up in the two spots that we're going to basically have taped off, and turning them to the settings that he tells me to, and shooting.
Yeah,
So that's the goal, is to have it that simple in the next week and a half.
yeah. And I guess too, like the other thing I've been focused on is like doing more easier content. You know, one of the things I used to love was the Saunders Machine Works tours.
Yeah.
And he used to do a lot more of them. I kind of miss watching them on YouTube because,
Okay.
like, I don't know, they pop up like once every 6 months.
Okay.
And we were doing, you know, the like first, you know, customer visit, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can just follow this guy around with a camera, and it's the exact same format. So
I'm surprised you get that many people that are willing to do it. Like, I'd love to do
Yeah.
that for our site visits. And sometimes people don't even want me to wear my Plot AI for recording audio.
yeah.
Like, I had one where like they got super cagey. They're like, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm like, we have an NDA. This is only going to
Right.
help me. And like,
Yeah.
I had to convince them. I was like, man, that friction at the beginning of this sale was
Uh-huh.
really interesting to overcome.
And it's not that I didn't get that friction. What I told the customers up front is that, hey, you have Final Cut. So like what that means is, first off, we're going to give you the whole video after it. We're going to film it. We're going to edit it for free. We're going to give it to you. Do whatever you want with it. Post it on your website, or just link to our tour, or like, you know, the tour that we have, like posting in our.
What size of company are these that you're going into? Like, how many team members are there?
25 to 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
But
200 is
yeah,
pretty
yeah, I
good.
mean they're
That's-
they're still cagey, but like telling them you can cut anything, you can blur anything,
Um,
you can not tell us we can't use it at all.
I'm just saying that demographic or persona is a little
Yeah,
bit different. Where
yeah.
like, I'll go into a very large corporation where I think if I tried bringing a camera in, that would really
yeah.
throw some flags.
For sure. I guess that's different too, because we're seeing machine shops. We're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like there might actually be trade secrets that they're trying to legitimately protect.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
usually the case. Like, I'll go into like some weird sheet metal. I'll use one recently of like a weird sheet metal fabrication. They've been making the same parts for the last century, literally.
Yeah.
And it's like they do some things differently.
Yeah.
That like, but that's one of the weird out cases, because like there's some of them where like I'll go to a shop and it's like, hey, we got to have you sign this NDA because we do this machining.
Yeah.
Or we do this process completely different than everybody else in the industry. And I was just at a site like
I
2 days
know.
ago and saw the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Everyone thinks they have a trade secret, and they just have like one smart guy, and the other shop has one smart guy, and they're just doing a very small.
Yeah, they did a scientific study and reached the same conclusion, just in a
Mhm.
different timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways. All right, should we move on to the next topic?
Engineering and R&D is what's next.
Oh God, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, this is actually so 1701. You saw the assemblies when you did the shop tour.
Yep.
We've got several of those coming together. The weldment's supposed to be here in the next week or two, I believe, and then we'll be cabling that. I'm really excited to see this cell come together because we did the proof of concept. We tested that out. We then did a slight VCO to refine that cell because we learned a lot of things on it. And this, oh my gosh, like we were hitting like 98 to 99% success rate on our proof of concept, and we should have like near 100% uptime. And we're really excited about this cell.
Yeah.
Like how, well, you saw the grippers, like,
They're nice.
Just the grip, like, I mean, there's a lot of engineering.
We gotta say robot grippers.
Yeah, here, robot end of arm tooling. I should show you the case erector one too, because that's in Rev 1.
Yeah.
But like the ones that you saw for the product picking, those have got to be in like Rev 3, like
Right.
B or C, because of how many times we had to go through that. And then you saw the flipper tray, stuff like that. Like there's thousands of engineering hours there to figure out all those different things. So I'm really excited because the team's put in so much effort to like make this super reliable, because that customer has a clause in what we did for their project that as long as we hit metrics of performance, they buy another machine.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's really cool.
I think one thing I didn't really understand about Develop, like I understood you built like these straight machines to do X, Y, Z. Like I didn't really understand. Oh, like the entire cell is here.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the robot caging, the robots, like all of the interfacing, like.
Yeah, it all gets built here, and then we'll do a proof of concept. I mean, that's if it's something we haven't touched. So if like we're doing a palletizer, we might ship the robot right to their facility and just build the cabinets and everything in the end of arm tooling here and take that there. But yeah, for the cell that you saw here today, that's a first on the planet that we're aware of. Like, there's a lot of unique engineering.
Yeah.
Just trying to do that at their facility would have been a
nightmare.
Yeah, we'd have been out of business.
Yeah.
Just trying to drive back and forth and prove stuff out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about engineering because I feel like you're going to give me a hard time.
I keep going.
Oh, you keep going. We'll get to me.
That's the one cell. We have another client where we're doing industrial product development for them, and we're doing everything from mechanical design of their cases to their embedded hardware that goes inside of it to sourcing the injection molding at volume for them. And then this has kind of been like this dream state that Develop's been working towards. Is then we get to design the automation equipment for them, and potentially we're going to run that automation equipment for them at scale as they ramp up, and then TBD once we hit full scale if they're going to buy the equipment off of us to take it in-house. But everything's being designed for automation. So how do we pick up this part? How do we place it with a robot? How do we dispense adhesives? How do we make sure that these mechanical or plastic enclosures can be quickly assembled or easily assembled with robotics? And then how do we even build a pipeline for vetting out sources, for making sure that when they supply us with those parts, we get them into a tray right off of their lines for picking up with automation.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about this because we just had a site visit with the injection molder that we're hoping to work with. We're still vetting them out, but they're local. They're literally like just down the road from us. And so that would help us a lot out with transit. And then during the ramp up, being able to communicate with them so easily.
Yeah.
So I'm really wound up about that project. I think it'd be really fun to prove out some of the concepts we want to do here.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I have a whole lot left after that.
All right. You're going to give me a hard time, and rightly so, when you see where my head is at with engineering. So, like, I think generally for me, like, because I do engineering sometimes, like, and because we're so product focused, like, that's okay if I design a gripper, right? Because, like, you design a gripper once, and maybe we do a couple of revs, and it gradually improves, but like we continue to capture the value of that. Obviously, if it were T&M work, that would be insane to do as like the president of the company, right?
Yeah.
But I went on I go on the first intraload installs, and my rule is whenever there's something new or whenever the first two of any new configuration I go to,
you're doing it.
Which everybody wants some unique configuration. So right now that's all of them.
Yeah.
If someone wants 60 pallets or they want 16 little pallets, or they're all kind of the same, but there's always something different. And the first thing I saw is like, the install process we could compress from 2.5 days to 1 if we just did X, Y, Z. And yeah, it's huge. And I'm like, well, we can redesign, this subassembly to be one part if we just make it out of billet aluminum. And like, sure, it'll be more expensive, but who cares, right? And the shelving system, like right now you train every position that the pallets are located at to grab from individually. And I realized the way to do it is to redesign the whole shelving system. I mean, it's not each individual shelf, and let the pallets kind of float in X, Y. Put the machine mathematically where it's supposed to be, and then tighten down the pallet. So rather than the machine references the pallet references to the machine.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, it'll very much speed up the install. And now here's the thing where I'm at. Okay, our head engineer, who's been doing all the intraload design work, is going on family leave, right? And as a small business, obviously that's stressful. And you're really, the other guys on the shop floor aren't engineers, right? So I'm looking at I want to make these design changes. We need to make more of these units. And so am I just going to work more and make these design changes? Or are we going to make them the inferior way again? That's going to take longer to install.
How many CIs or how many R&D projects or activities do you typically have going on? Can you track that?
Not really. I guess kind of the way. So I started doing the time tracking. I kept doing that.
I'm saying for company wide. So
Yeah.
So we've been tracking our CIs. So at the beginning, when we did a kickoff for 2025, we had a goal list of CIs to do, and then we had a wish list of other CIs that we wanted to do. And as we did that, so what happened is we ended up with a lot of active CIs or R&D in the pipeline.
Right.
And so over the last couple of weeks here, we've been watching that because we've had the capacity to do more CIs and bring more of the team to work on it like a project for a customer.
Yep.
And what we found is, all right, we have a limit on how many CIs or R&D activities we can have as a company. Just a hard, fast, it's a number. So we're at 5 CIs or R&D. That's all we can have active. Granted, we have 7. We need to work down to that is what the team's been testing. By the end of this coming week, I think we're going to be down to 4 or 3. But then after that, we have a 1 in, 1 out rule, or a 1 out, 1 in rule. So we at least keep it focused on what's going to have the biggest impact. And then we have less stuff running in parallel. That might be something to look at for that.
Well, so I guess here's the thing too, is that I keep saying, hey, we're an engineering firm. That's how I started to think about us.
Yes.
We're not gonna machine components unless until our products are at the scale where we're less high mix low volume and more high mix high volume.
Yeah.
And so we become less vertically integrated. We've been insourcing onshoring into the United States, which has been awesome. But it means that first off, unlike what we could do before, we have even with an expedite a week and a half lag, right? So that kind of forces us to run things in parallel. And I guess really the big. Go ahead.
And I'm just thinking how much is in parallel, because that's one thing that I've seen that I've actually really enjoyed, because the team has this huge angst to get our next project started, and I shouldn't say almost. I'm happy that we haven't been pushing to start this next one. It's been more, we need to clean out these things in our pipeline because Develop was notoriously good at getting a lot of shit started, but not always good at getting everything completed the way we wanted for internal things.
Yeah.
So it's we would get these things going, we'd get partially where, so it's no, we're not starting something until it's done. And even on our project side, having less in parallel, and which aligns with one of our biggest goals is how do we compress our complex machine design build process down as far as we can.
Right.
And so that's been the huge initiative too. All right, if we do that, we have less running in parallel and our team can focus on things. Because if you have 3 machines getting built in parallel, all of a sudden it never fails that, it seems to work good at the beginning of a project because, all right, software has the most work on this one, mechanical has the most work. And then engineering happens, and the things that you didn't plan for in the project start occurring. And then all of a sudden software has 3 projects in testing and they can only focus on one.
I guess our projects are more the scope is smaller. I think that's one thing that's when even an intraload,
so then why would you need any in parallel? Maybe you should have one. You can always be working on one R&D.
No, but it's the problem is let's say that whoever does it, whether it's me or someone else, redesigns the intraload. We're not going to be able to touch the parts because they need to get machined and anodized for another 2 weeks to even test them. So
what's wrong with that?
Nothing is wrong with that, right? But then so you're saying just do sales in the meantime?
Because you just said that's your pain, so you flop between that.
Okay. Well, let me keep explaining because I think you're going to push back more because
I need to understand more.
The first thing I think is very much cash flow related. So it's I have the cash, right? these intraloads have become a major portion of our revenue. And like really we just need to sell one a month, right, to stay like consistently cash flow positive.
Okay.
And I think all of the early ones we've lost some amount of money on, which is to be expected.
That's
right.
understood. Yeah, that's complex product
Yeah,
development.
but I'm like, okay, if we're doing one of these a month, like that change needs to happen because I need to take that install time down from 3 days, 2.5, essentially 3 days, because you're losing the time anyways, to 1 day. That needs to happen. So like this improvement needs to happen.
How many are you
right?
selling a month right now?
Like 2 to 3
Per month?
Well, we're taking a deposit and they get booked out, and basically we have like a set number of slots.
So you need to, let me make sure I'm understanding this. You need one to be cash flow positive for your entire business.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Kind of, or yes? It's a yes or no.
Yes, assuming like the 2 T&M clients stay at the level they're at, which is almost nothing, right?
Okay, let's just remove the T&M. And it can be a fractional number. Is it 1.5 intraloads you need to sell? Like, do you need to sell, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess this is the question of like, we're not making a ton of money on the intraloads because they're not super efficient right now, like in terms of manufacturing and installation. And we know like overall the amount of labor we're putting into them, we're net negative. And kind of where I am is like, do I need to hire more into engineering and eat further negative cash flow than under break even to be able to open up my time into sales and marketing, right? Like basically the question I'm asking is, do I need to staff up in a way that can allow me to focus on things to make us more cash flow positive, or is that just going to take in more projects that aren't our core focus?
So I'm just scribbling numbers down here out of curiosity. So what we were talking about kind of offline was, maybe we actually covered a little bit in here. You think you can remove about 1.5 days on the install?
Correct. Yep.
So that's 12 hours of human time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's $100 per hour roughly.
Yeah.
So $1,200.
Well, no, you have multiple people on the installs.
Okay, so you have multiple.
Yeah.
So $2,400 then, because it's 2 people.
Well, right now it's at 3, but it should drop to 2.
Yeah, because after this one, let's look at the future state after this. So $2,400. I guess that's multiple days then. So it's actually that. So it's $4,800 is what you're looking at on a per install, and you're currently selling 2 to 3. How many months in a row have you sold 2 to 3?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is it's such a new product. I don't really, and I don't want to get into exact sales numbers on these for a variety of reasons. But
I'm just okay. Let me just explain where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to do is look at what your offset is. So say it is $5,000 per intro load.
Yep.
How many are you selling per year? Is this you need to sell more before you solve this problem, or is it you need to solve a problem? Is really where I'm trying to go. And then that's the same thing we do with our CIs.
Yeah.
What we do is we track our CIs of impact to business in terms of, all right, is it just a department thing? Is it a global impact? So like A3 safety, huge impact to our business on multiple things, and you can assign dollars to that. And so same thing with your CI and R&D board.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you should do this at some point. I'm not disagreeing with that. Timing, I think, is your question.
Yeah. Well, I guess one thing too is like, I am really fast. And the one question is like, do I just grind it out? Because I feel like I can make this change in a day, but it needs to be like a focused day.
Oh.
And the risk is that like I go in on Saturday and I work a 12-hour day one day, but then the risk is the burnout potential.
Well, if it's one day, there's always that. So what's the risk of it blowing out of that is my question. So if you're looking at because this has a really good asymmetric profile from what I'm hearing, where burning it out
so it's like
for 12 hours seems to make sense. But again, we can constantly justify this to ourselves, because I know I've been in that position too, where like, I just have to do this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I look back over the last 5 years, Michael, I've worked pretty much every single weekend through the last 5 years. Now I have a son. Yeah. And it's like, now I'm looking at like, what's the highest leverage I can give my business so I can get out.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is like, I could just sell them as is. Like everything works well, the customers are happy, but like the installs suck and the margins, like I'm not happy enough. And the answer could be I increase the price. The answer could be I come back to this later and then we lower the price. The answer could be that I just do this now. And I'm just trying to figure that out.
Yeah, because you also have the layered in challenge, like you said, of an engineering team member that needs some time off.
Yeah.
And that
And I guess that's
then the
just-
challenge
yeah.
gets pushed back on you is
Right.
before that occurs. So I see what you're saying about you need more engineers. The pain is real right now. Is the pain real? Long term,
and the other question I'm asking is like, so we've been shifting a lot towards velocity, even if it's slightly more expensive.
Yep.
Of like,
I
okay,
agree with that completely. That's like
Yeah.
you were questioning a lot on when you walked around the floor. Why do we do so much machining?
Yeah.
It's so we can have the team for the quick turns.
Right.
Is why we focus on that.
Yep. And that's been working out really well. And we're getting a lot more done with a much smaller staff, and our expenses are going up, but only when our revenue rises, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good spot to be.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I just can't get out of my head is the stupid extra load. And I know you push back a ton on that, and I think rightly so. And here's the thing, like we have, first off, there's a ton of potential in the UMC market for the intra load, right? There just is. I guess penetrating that market is what I'm trying to figure out. Because the UMCs live in this weird spot where they're not the small shops, and sometimes they're the big shops, but they're like the outgoing, like crappy equipment the big shops are replacing, right? They're in this weird middle ground as an entry-level 5-axis.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of them are unautomatable or not being automated, right? So like we have the benefit in that like we're the only option, but then also the drawback on those machines that they're kind of seen as like, maybe the beater machines that are getting replaced by DVF 5000s or something, when production really gets going, right?
Yes.
Um,
At Rings, this is the first 5-axis. That's the way it was looked
Yeah.
at. Is we got to figure out how to get into this
Yeah.
market. We had 2 products that we couldn't build on 3-axis machines,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all the thing did. Like there was
Yeah.
no point never automating that thing,
Right.
At the point, or at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's an entry level. It's the gateway drug to 5-axis machining.
Yeah, and my concern is like, we talked about the extra load when it was in its original like halfway prototype form, where it had all the layers and it was competing with Aroa and Halter and Trinity and these very established companies, and especially as some of these companies have come down in price a little bit. I mean, we're talking from $300,000 to $200,000, right?
That's still a huge shift in this
Right.
market when
Yeah.
costs have been going up
Yeah.
to manufacture in the States.
And where I'm like is like, hey, clearly I don't want to enter that market. I think you really help push back there. But I have been like, wow, that $50,000 automation market there's a lot of potential there. And it's really underserved.
Oh yeah.
And kind of where I landed is like, let's make one of these rotary platter, boxes with a single axis that's motorized, that picks up a pallet from a rotating table and plops it on the machine. And part of what's so appealing to me about that is like, you can have a VF2, you can have a Doosan or DN DVF, you can have a Hosfu C5, like whatever it is, doesn't care. And I'm like, it's the exact same product, similar margins, and maybe slightly worse margins, that just takes the market from this sliver to we can serve any machine. And I'm looking at that.
But I guess my question there then is you're currently selling enough of the extra load system to service your business.
Intraload?
Sorry, the intraload to service your business. I would say do your efficiency gain on that sell so you can sell more of those before you go after another one and keep saturating that, because you're still selling more than it sounds like you can serve, and there's a solid market there. And your team at that point, if you can't service this ECL or this minor change on a cell, you're probably not going to be able to do it on that other one to even support building it.
Well,
so
it's
you're going
not-
to just burn
yeah.
cash to get there.
Yeah.
I would be looking at how do I get more cash and liquidity in this business, because you're not saturating. I know
Right.
the
Obviously.
grass is always
Obviously.
greener and there's opportunities over there, but I would personally still push harder into the interload then.
I agree. Like, I agree that that's what logically looks like it makes sense, actually.
Okay.
And I'm just not sure that it's right. So, like, there's a whole, like, black swan theory, right? Of,
I understand Black Swan.
yeah. So, like,
Nicholas
anything-
Collab, for those
right.
that haven't, great book to listen
Yeah.
to or read for yourself.
In the automation business, we kind of started out with the grippers and vices, and it wasn't doing very well. And then we brought out the 2-op automation palette, and it opened up this whole other market we didn't expect. And it kind of took off, right? It's like we literally 2-3x the revenue. And then we did that again with intraload, and we, 2-3, like with just these huge increases, but only after the product existed. And to be fair,
that's how. I mean, that's
Yeah.
no different than manufacturing. Trying to sell PCB assembly without a high volume PCBA line is very tough.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, you know how many inquiries for every, one inquiry of someone who has a UMC 500, there's 4 inquiries from someone who has a machine that we're not compatible with yet. And I'm like, damn, if we just had like the extra load built, all of those, like our top of funnel would 5x instantly.
How many would you need to pre-order to make it justifiable? So say, all right, we're building, you design the CAD, you never build it. You have the rendering. All you do is build a rendering. You say, we're taking pre-orders on this. If you want to go if you say you'd commit to one of these, it's a non-refundable, say $1,000 or $5,000 deposit.
Yeah.
We're working towards getting enough pre-orders. You can watch the ticker. Once we hit 10 or 20 or 50, whatever that is, your cell's getting built. But until we have that, so you might be waiting. How many of those could you look at it that way of getting pre-orders on the cell?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to not put the risk.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're going for. I just don't want to see you. You've done it a couple times. It's a weird addiction to chase that rush or that ride up.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you self-sabotage your business.
Yeah. I know. I just have one of those hunches, and I'm thinking about like the installs. They're the biggest pain of the product. And
Oh, yeah.
And to an extent, like every one of the sheet metals on all these machines is like not lining up, and that might just be a Haas thing, right? But it's like every machine is a little different. All the positions have to be trained a little differently, and like I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, man, we built that box. Like the customer could self-install the damn thing, like literally. If someone is coming out, they're leveling the feet and training 2 positions, and then they train and leave. And I think about the difference between that and like even an optimized version of the interload install. And then I combine that with the idea that we're, instantly, even with our existing marketing, 5xing the funnel, right? And that's just people who are reaching out who have a different machine brand, just asking, is this compatible? And the answer is no right now.
Interesting. I didn't have that.
Yeah. And then I look at all of that and I'm like,
How many people is that? Have you made a list of just those?
no, this is on the list now. I mean, I'm not even tracking our interload leads well enough in HubSpot, right?
You should track that and literally just go down the list and see how many. Like, literally do a focus group day where you call them down and see what. Like, you could ask them how they want that product scoped before you build it. Then,
Yeah.
like that'd be like if you have that list, I would lean into that hard. Like, create an SOW what you think that cell should be and send it to them all and say, hey, you get some input on this. If you want to, you put a deposit down.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Like, don't build the product. Sell the solution first. Flip the script then on this.
I know. I would love to. I don't know if I'll succeed, right, at taking that approach. Well,
Have you ever
and
tried
here's
it?
like, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what the risk is.
I guess part of why I'm thinking my head is right here is like I look at our interload system, right? It's the same PLC. Like the programming is like it's all built. The pneumatics are like essentially the same. Like, really it's a box with a rotating platter and an extra axis. And I'm like, and we have the water jet, we have the powder coating, we have all the stuff to do it. And then
How many have you built out the Gantt or the engineering resources to do whatever?
I need to.
Because that's one thing we've also done for our CIs is we don't approve like literally now. I think I brought this up a couple weeks ago on the podcast. I never thought I'd be getting statement of works addressed to me. So now when CIs go through the company that are over X size, the team builds out a statement of work. They build out a Gantt chart. They give an engineering resource justification, and then we kick the project off no different than we do for a customer. And that creates granted, we still haven't ran all these through this way, but it's appearing like it's going to increase our success rate and increase our velocity and then reduce the amount of friction of coming back to asking questions or the risk of mission creep throughout the project. Because I know that's something we've been bad at too, is like we get into a project and that mission creep happens too. It's just an engineering company. So now it's like, no, that wasn't part of the SOW. Are you saying we're changing the scope?
Right.
Or are we building what we said we were building? And that's created really good accountability back to me. And I actually like it when my team's pushing back, like, Matt, you didn't scope that from the beginning.
Right.
Are you saying you want it now? That's fine.
Yep.
Either way, we need more time than in the Gantt, not the same timeline and more features.
Yeah. Can I explain to you how I got here in my head? I mean, like a lot of this was
Well, you got
literally
here by driving.
No, I know. Like literally on the drive, I had a lot of these thoughts. Right?
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, okay, I have my head engineer who's done all the interload design. other than like the initial prototypes, on leave. And I'm thinking about the Gantt charts. And I'm thinking, hey, one thing that needed to happen, we talked about adding essentially 2 motors and, building a box to demo the intraload in a compact way with a full scale version, just 2 moving motorized axes for trade shows. So it was actually clear what it does. Because if we just mount the intraload in a shelf, no one will have any idea what the heck it is, right?
Understood.
And I'm thinking about the work that would be done there and that Gantt chart and all that stuff that would have to happen. And I'm like doing this, the improvement, the engineering improvement on the intraload there, plus building that trade show demo. I'm like, that's a similar amount of effort because we built so many boxes, in our past lives of it.
Yeah, I get it.
To just building the whole thing that I can't seem to get out of my head. Obviously, I still want the intraload demo to be built, but
I'm going to come back full circle then
Yeah.
where we started here. I think you need to focus on hiring somebody for sales because the more I've gotten to know you, Michael,
Yeah.
this might be a big leap or a big comment, but I think you need to just find a way that you're always in engineering because that's what you love and that's what all roads for Michael lead back to engineering the products because that's what you're most passionate about. And if you're not doing it, you're always finding a way back there. That's a huge sidebar comment. Maybe not sidebar
Sure,
comment, but I
yeah.
understand why you're thinking about it. But that's like, the more I think about, like, we keep coming back to this and I keep pushing back on you not doing R&D. Maybe we just need to figure out a way so that's all you do or more of
I
it.
don't agree with that.
Okay.
And it's not that I've never heard that. I've heard like, hey, you should be the CTO and you should hire somebody to run the company. I think I enjoy running the company.
Okay.
I think I enjoy having but I want the product to be right. I want to be like a product obsessed CEO. And I don't necessarily need to be doing the engineering. I think that's a lot of it. That is the byproduct of our size right now. And the state of like, okay, we have this key person who's going to be out, right? And there's like, how do I solve that problem? I don't know that I necessarily want to be doing all the day-to-day engineering.
Okay.
Certainly I don't want to be like, tightening bolts. Not to say I don't like it, but I think it's more of just that product obsession I can't get rid of.
I understand that one.
Um,
I think because I know I've had a issue, and lately we've been looking at the same thing as you've done, is we've removed products, we focused, develop a lot. I think the way I've justified that to myself for the long term is saying, all right, for the short term, if we hyper focus on what we know is growing our company, it's going to create more opportunities long term. And that's starting to play, or it's really proving over the last 12 months of doing that hyper focus for us. But yeah, it's definitely been weird because I haven't been able to, when I have a product idea or things I want to do, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a weird addiction to explain to people, but it's a real product addiction.
Yeah, and I worry when I get obsessed like this with something that and I can't get out of my head, that I just need. I think maybe what I need to do is just say, okay, you get a day, and I'm not saying that this is responsible, but if I'm going to do it anyways, you might as well scope it.
You're saying take the day to scope it.
No. Take a day and just let myself go crazy with SolidWorks. And just say I'm going to give myself exactly one day. And then say, okay, where is this? How much more work does this need?
I think I would still push, if you want to be leading the development, I would kind of go towards what I've been seeing is working, is defining those SOWs, putting those in a list, and seeing the impact on your company. And it's something you could also look back on the Toyota Waybook. There's their A3 chart on looking at CIs or R&D initiatives. You could look at the structure they do, but really figure out how you quantify that and put them in order. So then as your team grows, they can knock them out for you rather than continuously using the day to do an exploratory. I would put your time towards something higher leverage, towards growing your business than that. Would be my thought.
Yeah.
I know you've got
I know.
pushback. That's a
Yeah.
challenge for you,
Yeah.
but I guess it's been easier for me as now I literally haven't done CAD in years. I guess I tried doing it the other day. It was rather comical. I was up there and I just wanted to change something on a part that I saw, or me and a guy were communicating about, and I just couldn't explain it. Just give me the mouse. And I'm like, shoot, I can't do this. And so it's really comical, but
No,
I don't know. I've
yeah.
seen that drafting out the SOWs because then I really think about it.
Right.
And it's putting me in the mindset of somebody else developing and doing it for us. But maybe I'm trying to get
I'm
something
almost
that's
like-
working for me
yeah.
to work for you that just won't.
And you know, part of it is I know, like, if I get into the right flow state, I can just get an absurd amount of work done. And it took me a lot of time to become realistic about how much to expect out of engineers. Because like if I get in the right headspace and I just block everything out, I can get so far so fast.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, maybe like I just need to give myself 10 hours or whatever it is to just have the time to be like, either like, yeah, you know, let's put it, like, make the work orders, let's build it, or to be like, no, this needs another 40 hours and you don't have that right now.
Have you ever looked at time blocking your week? So like I've
Yeah.
described like what my something else I did at the beginning of the year, what my perfect week kind of looks like, and then I track that like we've done on the time tracking. Maybe your perfect week just needs to always have whatever.
Maybe.
You get your X number of hours
Yeah.
as R&D, and it's a non-negotiable because that's what helps feed your addiction, we'll say, for R&D.
Sure,
There's nothing
yeah.
wrong with that. That's just what
Yeah.
it is at the end of the day. So maybe that's how you look at that, is you say, all right, I get 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
I get to use it how I see, but that's the way I look at it. And then the other is going to be X hours on sales, X hours on marketing, X on just, I don't know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder, like I like sales and marketing, and I'm good at it, but I you know, I've been talking about the cyclical nature, and you know, I just have spent a ton of time in sales and marketing, and I'm like, is this just me like snapping and saying like, screw it, you know, I'm gonna work on the thing I want to work on for a minute because I've been focusing, like, is that what's causing the cycles in the company? Maybe.
Oh, I think we've said this in the past, that owners and ourselves can sometimes be our own worst enemy. I don't think that's anything new. I don't
Yeah.
think you need to beat yourself up about that. It's
Yeah.
just, we have things that we want to do, or the reason we started the business, and so sometimes those things trickle back in.
Yeah. I mean, like, this kind of feeling, I guess, is like what made me essentially like burn my other very profitable business to the ground and start the automation company, right? Which everyone told me was insane.
So are you chasing a different rush then? Are you wanting to do that rush again?
No.
Okay.
I legitimately think I just want it to work better. Like, you know, like every time I've gone through this transition, you know, from like grippers and vices to the module, and from the module to semi-turnkeys,
Yeah.
from the semi-turnkeys to interload, it just feels like it's gotten so much easier. And I just want to take the next step, you know, into making the business easier, so I can grow it more with less pressure, with less concern, you know, like, and do the things I want to do.
So would you kill the interload then, like you've done the other products?
I mean, if it was being outsold 4-1, sure. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what
Yeah,
to tell you.
yeah.
But like, I more or less was just trying to challenge you or question
No, I
you
know,
throughout
I know.
this, and I don't think either of us got a solid direction based on what I've heard.
I think I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give, you know, I've been out X number of days. I'm going to give myself one day. And I'm just, you know, other than pre-booked sales calls, I'll book out the entire day. I'll do nothing but this, and then I'll just make a choice. Like, was this really something I could knock out in a day if I was just in the right headspace and obsessed
Yeah.
enough? Or is this something that's going to take another 80 hours of my time?
Yeah, you just don't know what you don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's not the response, but, you know.
Hey, it's your business, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm more or less just trying to get you to think about
No,
things,
I know,
and
I
You do
know.
the same thing to me, so
Okay. Anyways,
it's your call.
That's why I knew it'd be a lot of engineering R&D.
Okay, no, that's good.
Thanks for being my engineering therapist.
Well, I don't know if that's, yeah, definitely not certified for that. Company-wide updates and improvements. Do we want to roll onto that?
Yeah, let's go.
I'll say, for us, we kind of talked about it. It's been a lot of the CIs for us, and have you ever done like a massive folder cleanup and purge in your company?
Oh, we talked about needing to do it. We need to.
So we did. So we literally, over the last week and a half here, and they should finish this coming week. I bet there's been 100 hours of just cleaning out folders, and like the team started making folders like, what is this, Matt, was basically it, and they'd send me these links, and I would end up deleting all of it. I didn't realize the amount of friction that it created. Like, by having how much of this stuff that just from the last 10 years of building a business, we just don't need anymore.
Right.
Like documents that were
Yeah.
created for XYZ to help with a process back in the day that then we revised and edited, but we never archived or deleted the old stuff.
Mhm.
It's like the amount of purging and then reorganizing stuff so it has a better flow, so we can reduce friction for the team. Now, I hope it's not just a, hey, we reorganize and move the problem, but I'm hoping it really reduces the friction, because I mean, the amount of stuff, like the amount of emails I got from Microsoft, like,
Yeah.
hey, just so you know, all this stuff
Uh-huh.
goes into a 30-day backlog or whatever
Right.
it is, that like you can still access this because you've been deleting a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Like those emails have been ridiculous for me, but like hopefully that helps our team a lot. And then just in general, the other like the big one's been the customer flow, like from meeting somebody at a trade show to maintaining their machine, like all the documents look the same. Like it's weird, just like little font
Right.
tweaks or like headers being in a different, like slightly different size or margin
Okay.
size. Like it always ate me alive when I'd see these documents. Like we just need to keep going. They're fine.
Right.
They yield the message. Now all that's being consistent, and then how the team is expected to deliver these documents is also
Gotcha.
been clarified of how those SOPs work through our machine building process. So that's been I've been enjoying it. It's such a weird, simple CI, but I've been really
Mhm.
excited about that.
Yeah. We have the same problem. I mean, we have Google Drive that we use to communicate with customers. We have Notion. We have Loom. We have Dropbox. And it's like, where is a file?
Yeah.
And like last week, I was looking at like trying to find an alternative to Notion. Like, how do I, in a better way, put our customer SOPs?
I think that's where you asked about like Trainual.
Yeah, Whale and Trainual, and I spent all this time looking for something, and I couldn't find a better solution than what we were doing. And I thought about it, I'm like, I hate Loom. Like I used to really like the idea of Loom, but like the way the links work, the way the folder structure, like it sucks.
Yeah, I used it for a while. I like it when I need to send something to like a contractor, but I never need to reference that video again.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I really like. Like, hey, I'm looking at this. Watch this once. You can delete it after that.
Mhm.
But like for reusing it, I had that same pain.
Yeah, it's like I want videos and I want to instantly generate a QR code and that be a sticker and it sits on the machine that's referenced that video, right? And it's like, okay, I can do that through this one weird system, but then you end up using like 4 systems anyways. And I came to the conclusion there wasn't a better way to do it.
What's that Kanban card company that you use?
Arda?
Arda. You
Yeah.
should tell this to Arda, because they've got the QR generation
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
and they can layer in videos into this too. Because
Mhm.
that's a common procurement challenge too.
Right.
Is all right, how does the procurement process work or something like
Yeah.
that? So you could have videos layered into their software, and then you could turn it into software watching. So if
Yeah.
you're listening, Arda card, it's
Yeah.
a solid feature upgrade for you.
And what I ended up doing was like saying, okay, one QR code per video. But the problem is when we have a product assembly process that's 14 videos, not 14, but 4, right? Then it's like, is it 4?
QR codes.
Yeah. And then Notion, if you move any of or change like the file name or move it at all, the link changes. So then the QR code breaks.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
So like, otherwise I would just put the Loom videos into the Notion and then make the QR code go to that.
Yeah.
Um,
That would work.
But now it's like I got 4 QR codes, right? It's these little things that can, for me right now, I guess I'm just stressed about where do I put my time to get the business headed in the direction I want.
I think you need to list them all out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
solve it here.
Of
I
course,
think you know
yeah.
all your pains, and that's something as I've gotten more time, that's something I've spent more time doing, is getting back to laying out all the things I want to improve in the company, but then picking one, starting it. Same thing I'm asking my team, I need to ask of myself, of how I handle my personal CIs or objectives within the
Yeah.
company. I hyper focus on one thing till it's done, and then I move on to the next.
Yeah.
Is what I've been doing. And then I've been just looking at them in terms of leverage. What creates the most leverage for me in terms of time or company growth?
Right.
So if it's even if I may want to do this other thing, I'm just not letting myself do it. But what's I've found is it's creating more time for me to do other things. And the other thing that I'm trying to find time for is really, this was like, other than the podcast here, that I had very little work this weekend, which meant I had time to go to the farm with my dad. I had time to spend with Milo in the morning today. Like I didn't do any work other
Yeah.
than coming here. So it's like finding that time there has been a motivator for me. So while that's a different shift for me though.
Yeah, and I'm like looking for places I can become more efficient. Like Whisper has been huge. I mean, like literally it's saving me an hour a day, which huge deal.
Yeah, that's I mean, but same thing. I had that feeling with Fixer at the beginning. I was like, holy crap, this changed my life.
I guess with Whisper, like unless it stops transcribing.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't.
You know.
Yeah, that shouldn't regress. Which I'm excited to lean into that. It's just the reason I haven't done it is I set myself to I'm only doing the CI till it's done, and I'm waiting for Superhuman,
Yeah.
which is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean,
That might get killed.
yeah.
It's one of those CIs where it was like I saw as a huge upside potential, so I was wanting to tackle that because inbox is one of my biggest pains, and I think the thing that I keep prolonging that I just need to do is to hire an executive assistant.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I keep seeing that I'd rather hire engineers to support the pain on the back end of the business because having Matt stressed out is more sustainable than somebody on the team.
Yeah.
Is literally the thing I always tell myself.
That's true. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So
And,
like it risking burning me out, I'm still going to be here and I'll come back.
yeah.
But if you burn somebody out on the team, they're done.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the other part of the equation I continue to look at. And probably the reason I continue to push back. I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to hire this person.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm
that's
gonna
what
hire
I'm
this
doing,
other
right? Like, I'm like, do I hire an engineer right now or do I just take on the burden of it? And
Yeah. I think it's a common problem that probably every small business of our size faces.
Yeah. And I mean, the part of the problem too is like we both want to grow, right? And then it's
Yes.
the risk management of like,
Yeah, I never wanted a lifestyle business. And so that's it's definitely a different equation there.
yeah. Sometimes I want it. I just wish like I didn't want things as much, so things could be easier. Like, man, if I could have been just happy with like having a contract manufacturing shop, like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think
I
that's
know,
always
yeah.
it's you've seen those pictures of somebody riding a bike looking at a car next to them. It's like you always want what you
I
want to
know,
have,
I
it
know.
seems, and so that's I
yeah,
don't think there's anything wrong with what you want. It's what you want.
Mhm.
But go get it.
yeah. Cool. What we have any other sections here?
That pretty much covered it. The weekly task. My weekly task last week was to prep and crush that one sales meeting that I had. The fact that I had all morning to focus and prep for that. I had their honey jars laid out as I said I was going to, and I don't think it could have gone any better. Other than if it does or doesn't close, will probably be the indicator of how well it went. So we should know that in the next couple of weeks here. I have another one of those next week where I got to go in. The project should have closed this last week, big sale. I really just need to knock that one out of the park and a couple big things and continue to create my time for these high leverage and stop pulling myself into a lot of little tasks and just not do them is what I've seen is creating those opportunities for the company.
Yeah.
So I think I just need to stay the course, which is an interesting one. But it's crushed that big sales call, and then I've got a couple sales tasks, objectives that just need to be done because we're getting ready for MD&M and Eats coming up, and I need a clean plate and to have properly utilized the leads we gathered from the last 3 trade shows.
Yep.
So continuing to just lean into that is all I'm doing. Nothing crazy. Nothing.
Is that your accountability item?
Yeah, I need to crush my money. It's a weird accountability, but yeah, I just need to make sure I give the time for that. And then actually we have a site visit with that or that product development customer that really it's been interesting because they've wanted to go really fast with their product development, which I really respect. But the challenge is making sure we don't skip steps and follow the process that develop has built. And it's been training them is the wrong word, but communicating them of how our processes need to work. So because we know how to get them a product to market and hit the metrics they want. It's just that they've never developed a product like this.
Your process if they're going to use you as the vendor to develop it.
Yeah, so it's continuously communicating that, which we've made some really good strides over the last couple of weeks because we've shown how our process can work, and by not doing certain, because we basically tested a few things that we want to do a different way, and then it just didn't work quite as optimal way we thought it could work, if you will. So sticking to the process has been really key, and now we're going into a meeting where they're going to see a timeline that is a little bit longer than what they want, but we know if we follow it, they're going to get exactly what they want, and it's going to be done to the quality that we all expect. But I think they're going to want to remove like 10 to 20% of the time, which puts the entire project at risk, not only on budget, but on potentially not even hitting the timeline that we propose. So it's communicating to them is the other thing.
Well,
being-
let's
being
scope
very
out
prepared
your
for that.
accountability item to one like critical thing.
I think it's getting that customer to focus on deploying the product in the method that we really are wanting to do. That's really it. Because if we do that, it's going to be a really solid relationship for both parties. But we need to make sure that they don't skip anything.
Yeah. I mean, having talked through all the, and thank you for all the engineering pushback. Like I needed it, right? And I think
You
that's,
knew you needed it, but
yeah.
I don't know if you. I think you're still going to do what you want.
No, well, I think there's like two things, right? So there's what the company needs the most right now, and there's what I need the most right now. And I think I can be honest and say like maybe these things aren't perfectly aligned. And a lot of the time, I've done something that wasn't what the company needed right now. Like it wasn't the best decision, and it happened to work out, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I need to do right now is just like scope this out, the extra load concept. And by scope it out, really, I mean just give myself a 10-hour chunk of time, just give myself like free reign in SolidWorks, and reevaluate. Right.
So, okay, maybe what we do is your accountability. You still do your SolidWorks of your
Yeah.
exploratory. Use 80% of your time to figure, or you could flip it. 80-20. I don't care which way you do it. I want you to spend a portion of the time drafting a statement of work so somebody else can do the work. Whether you
Okay.
spend 80% of your time actually in CAD trying to get to the finish, and then you use the last half of it to draft a statement of work so somebody else can do the work, or you start on the other side and you draft the statement of work in super detail, and then you see how far you can get with the time that's remaining.
Okay. Yeah.
It might be cool to see. And then
Yeah.
it'll also create accountability. So all of a sudden when you're developing it, you don't see the mission creep within the development. Maybe you have a less of a pain on that than
Right.
we've seen, but I think you should use some of the time to define what that product is. Look at it from a marketing perspective. How are you going to sell this? What are the features that the customers want?
Yep.
What machines are it going on? And really narrow in on what that product is.
Yep.
Use a portion of the time just for that.
Okay, yeah.
See if you learn.
I think the big thing for me, like the accountability item in my eyes right now, 10 hours.
Yes.
Like give myself the time. So I've done the thing. No more than 10 hours.
Fair enough.
And I want you on the pod next week, you just to check in with me. Make sure that the time was capped at that, number one. And number two, like, I actually want you to like look at the CAD model. I'll show it in Riverside. And just like give me a basic sanity check of like, yeah, like, okay. I think like that's what I need more for myself than for the company. And it will probably honestly clear my head enough to like make the right choices everywhere else, right? Even if that means I'm like working an extra day on the weekend or whatever.
It doesn't sound like
Yeah.
it's work because it's something you really want to do.
Yeah.
Because like there's been those like I can. Yeah, I don't see.
I guess that's true too. Like maybe I just treat it as like a weekend day. Yeah.
I mean that you could look at that. I mean, if you always look at I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You could spend. That's what I used to do. Is a lot of my Sundays would be focused on something I wanted to do for the business.
Right.
Was the way I would
Yeah.
use that. Granted, that went away for a period of time, and now I've been just trying to reduce the amount of work I do on the weekends. But yeah, that would typically be the things I would do. Is like I just want to do this thing, so I'm going to go do it, and there's nobody here to interrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's the big thing, honestly, is just putting a limit on it. Because it's like, okay, sure, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, but like, let's not get carried away. Right.
Yeah. I think it'll be easy for this week. The challenge is going to be
Yeah.
after this week, if you want
Right.
my thought on that
Yeah.
process.
And the other thing, like looking through all the Gantt charts, is like we have this one turkey that the customer kind of didn't really need it, like on any particular timeline, and it's been running late, and they don't care, and they're like kind of give it to us whenever. We just want to be really nice, and then the timeline keeps getting pushed back, and like we've kind of given ourselves a hard deadline at the end of this month.
Okay.
Like that needs to get done, and I'm just kind of looking at all the stuff on the schedule.
Yeah.
And panicking a little bit. And then I have this other like idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
All right. That's probably a wrap.
Cool.
'Cause I think we're pretty well over on this one, aren't we?
Yeah, we're an hour and a half on this one. I think it might be the longest one today.
Crap. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Thanks
All
for
right.
listening.
Thanks for listening.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, 5 stars wherever you're listening. And unless it's YouTube, obviously that's just a like. Share with a friend. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Matt and I's conversation this week on the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. If you like the podcast, please share it with a friend or give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next week to continue sharing our respective journeys in life, business, and industrial automation. Thanks so much.